Every got it. For anybody that's here, if you are able to come on screen, I really love that because it lets me connect with you. Thank you so much, Sharon, Martha, Trisha, of course, Magda. It's so much more fun. Katrina, thank you. Mom, thank you. Anita, thank you. Her, I don't know exactly how to say that name, so I apologize. It looks like Elena's coming on. Thank you all so much. Oh, it makes me feel so much more connected than to just like seeing a name on a, a black box where I'm like, who are you? So I just want to start by saying what you're doing by learning this stuff is actually so hugely important and can really truly transform your health. And I say that from my own experience. I don't know how many of y'all were here last time or for the last class, but something that I shared was that I used to have a lot of chronic health issues around digestion, having chronic back pain where I could like barely walk for weeks at a time. And it was just horrible. A lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, and just not feeling very good, right? Not feeling very good. And the truth is that once I started to learn these principles, like these light bulbs were going off around like, oh, no wonder my belly hurt all the time. No wonder I didn't like eating. No wonder I was exhausted. And, you know, these solutions are really simple and totally profound. So I really invite you to lean in, really try absorb what you can. And be patient. Know that like these are concepts that take time to fully imbibe and absorb. So, you know, just know that, and the deeper meanings will unfold for you. Oh, hello, darling. Nice to see you. And so just be patient with that. Elle, I was just explaining that these concepts sometimes take a little bit of time to really be fully digested. And they are life-changing. I mean, in my opinion, in my personal experience, like understanding the doshas in myself and the seasons and in other people really gave me this vocabulary and knowledge and toolkit for my own health sovereignty, right? So that I didn't have to constantly wonder like what's going on, or like relying on, you know, experts that often our primary care providers, we only see for like 20 minutes every year or something like that. Like, so there's no real, you know, rapport. So this is your opportunity to get that rapport with yourself, with your body, and just live more intelligently so that you can feel really good. And that's my real goal and vision for all of you. So I'm going to jump right in. It's 12:04. Is screen sharing enabled? It sure is. So let's start with what are the doshas and why do we care? Right? Great question. So the doshas are 3 in number: Vata, Pitta, and Kappa. And they're actually combinations of elements, right? And much like, you know, you can say, oh, you know, that person's very fiery, right? That's something we've all heard. That person's very fiery. Well, that would be like calling someone Pitta, right? They have a lot of fire. Pitta we understand as fire and water. Or if we notice that somebody had a lot of like anxiety or a hard time sitting still, right? We would say in Āyurveda, we would say, oh, that person is so Vata, right? Or if we saw someone who was very like, you know, it's kind of hard to get them motivated, they're kind of couch potato-y, or very stubborn even, we might say, oh, that person is Kappa, right? So The doshas are illustrating qualities in the body and in a person, and they are combinations of the elements, right? So Vata is ether and air. What does that actually mean in the body? Well, it's like space, right? It's the space in your organs. It's the space in your mouth. And Vata governs the principle of movement, right? As things go through your body, as I'm waving my hands, as my mouth is talking, these are all Vata. Then we look at Pitta Dosha. Pitta is the combination of fire and water. And it's like Pitta is responsible for digestion and transformation, right? So Pitta is like hydrochloric acid. It's taking information into the mind and translating it into something that you can use, right? Like information into usable data, into wisdom, into knowledge. And then Kappa is earth and water. So it's sturdy, right? It's the sturdiest of all the doshas. It is the mass of the body. It's the bulk. And we use these terms to describe people and their imbalances, right? So when I'm looking at someone's constitution type, like I could look on the screen and I can identify people who are more Vata dominant. And that means that they have more of these qualities in their body, right? We all have all three. We all need movement, healthy movement of food. We all need to poop, these kinds of things. We need to move our bodies. We all need to be able to digest, metabolize, and we all need the actual like physical structure. So in that way, everybody has all three. However, we all have them to varying degrees. And understanding what dosha you are dominant in, and we'll get into that today, is like this magical key to understanding how to take care of your body, what time to get up, how much you should be exercising, all these things. Because the thing is, there is no such thing as a one size fits all paradigm for health, right? Like that's just silly and absurd. So the point of this knowledge is to give you that lens to understand yourself. So you can be like, oh, got it. Okay, this is how I get to be, to support my well-being, right? Instead of looking to other people. And a little quick note, like there's so much information on the internet, like literally you can find anything you want. And the invitation here is to get out of just your head. And I know this is kind of heady stuff right now, but to really get back into your body and notice how you feel. Like how do different things make you feel? And this is understanding these terms is really going to support that for you. So let's see. So the word itself, dosha, is that which can be disturbed, right? So when I look at someone, I'm looking at their state of dosha at birth. Like you kind of come in with a blueprint, right? Like the same way that you have a blueprint of your age, you know, you're born on this day, that's fixed. You cannot change that. No matter how much biohacking, you know, anti-aging, whatever, you're still born on this day. And this is what you have for life. Doshas are the same way. Everyone is born with a unique combination of doshas at birth, and that is called your prakriti. So that's something that we understand. So to understand what your baseline should be, like that's where we're trying to get you to, that unique balance of doshas that was present at birth. Now, there's also this term called Vikrati, and I have this in the ebook I'm going to share with y'all as well. Let me see if I can find it. But let's see. Yeah, can everyone see this okay? Yeah, okay, great. So Prakriti and Vikrati, right? Vikrati is this idea of imbalance. And it's not so important that you remember Prakriti and Vikrati, but the reason I'm explaining this to you is because some of y'all might go and do a dosha quiz after this class, because you're going to want to know, well, what am I? And here's the truth. There's like imbalances of each dosha that can show up based on the season, based on your lifestyle, right? So it gets a little gray area, understanding what is permanent and what is changeable. Okay. So we just went over what dosha means. It translates to fault. It's describing the ways in which your physical, mental, and emotional health can be impacted and go out of balance. We talked about them being made up of 5 elements. And I'm going to repeat a lot today because these are concepts that need repeating. All of this comes from Sanskrit, and Vata, Pitta, and Kappa is what we are learning today. So let me go back to that keynote. So this is a beautiful overview, kind of comparing the doshas. Let me see if I can zoom in, not that much, a little bit more. So Vata is the creative, right? We're going to start with Vata. Every one of you has some kind of Vata imbalance. And this is because Vata is the dosha that goes out of balance the most. And B, we live in a world where we are aggravating dosha, Vata all the time. Like we are increasing Vata dosha when we drive, when we scroll, when we multitask. All of these things increase the air quality in the body, right? This kind of like scattered, this is Vata. So a Vata person, and this can be a person who is born Vata dominant or someone who has a Vata imbalance. Again, I will repeat this because this is what gets confused a lot. They're going to have a slimmer body. So if you are going through a Vata phase or season, this might be a time you're losing weight. Or if you are Vata, you're going to have this more slender body type, right? And Vata tends to be a little more sensitive. Like Vata people need a little more care. They're more aggravated by sounds in the environment. Their digestion is more variable. And these are the people that are like, always kind of snacking. They never want to sit down for a full meal. And part of that is that their digestion tends to be compromised, right? So signs of a Vata imbalance are feeling very like nervous, anxious, ADHD, dry skin, constipated, like this. However, there's more to that, to Vata than just the imbalance side. And Vata is really all about creativity. Like if you've got those friends that just kind of like always wear like super funky, cool clothes and like kind of clashing and really creative artistic expression, this is Vata, right? And Vata in a balanced state is really able to access creativity and imagination and get downloads kind of from the universe. Like these people are really cool and interesting. Like when I lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and New Mexico is like the most Vata increasing place I've ever lived because it's so dry and high on a mountain. And it's just full of artists, right? It's full of these really creative, artistic people that are kind of like, when it comes to maybe, the real world, this world of like seriousness and we must be responsible. Maybe they're not so good at that, but they're really good at making beautiful things and just living it, in this creative way. So this is very much a Vata dosha person. And Vata people, like you'll see curly hair. That's a Vata dosha thing. Again, that slender body type, drier skin. So this is Vata. Is anybody identifying with any Vata characteristics so far? Mm-hmm. Type in the chat, or if you want to pop on and say, because I love to hear just a few quick words from anybody who feels like they want to share. I can't actually, oh, can I see the chat right now? Lost it, Slender. Vata, identifying with the, yes, Claire, you definitely are. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so let's talk about Pitta Dosha. Who remembers what Pitta Dosha is composed of, the two elements? Type it in the chat. Right, fire and water. Perfect. Yes, yes. And thank you for interacting. You will learn better. Yeah, anger. Magda said she remembers anger. Sure can be. It sure can be. I'm a Pitta dominant person, and as some of y'all in here can attest to, I'm fiery, right? My mom knows, Claire knows. So Pitta dosha is the combination of fire and water, and Pitta dominant people have a more medium build. So I'm actually Pitta Vata, which gives me a kind of a more slender frame, but I'm still Pitta dominant. So Pitta will have like reddish tones, undertones to the skin, regardless of if you're white, black, brown, like you can still be red, right? There tends to be an oily complexion. They'll have like a very muscular tone. Like Pitta people are those people that just like, they don't even do anything. And you're like, how do you have a six pack? Like, why, what? And that's just a function of Pitta dosha, right? They have this naturally strong metabolism. They tend to have a really good Agni or digestive fire. And you'll know Pitta people by how they dress as well too. Like Pitta people, they like to look good, right? Like they're always dressed to the nines. Like, where are you going? Are you going to the club? They're like, no, I'm going to Walgreens. And you're like, okay. Like this is Pitta. They really care about the internal, external environment, and they want things a certain way. Like Pitta people are picky. They're also great leaders. Like they're very clear and good at getting stuff done, right? Good at the execution, and good at pulling different parts of the puzzle together. Yeah, and that's in balance. Out of balance Pitta, and we're just going in a little bit closer. Out of balance Pitta is like controlling, angry. It's like if you're getting in your car and every time someone just like even drives like 2 hours of 2 miles above or below like what you think, you're like, hurry up or slow down. Like if this is you have a Pitta type imbalance, right? Because when you are in a balanced state, this kind of stuff doesn't bother you. But when there's too much fire built up, it just like Pitta people in an out of balance state will burn up everyone around them. Like they're just so intense. You're like, whereas like Vata people out of balance, they're like maybe really nervous or like maybe totally ungrounded, but they're not fighting with anyone. Pitta people in an imbalanced state will be very argumentative. And really like they're those people that like, oh my gosh, will really think that their answer is the only correct one. Like they know this is out of balance. A balanced Pitta person is, again, they're able to take feedback. They're very good leaders. They're very good at pulling in different parts of the puzzle. Now, some signs of Pitta imbalance physically are things like acid reflux, right? Or if you're overheating a lot, or if you have to poop like more than 3 times a day, this is really something to watch out for, because if you're doing it that much, you're actually not absorbing your nutrients properly, right? Food needs to be in your body a certain amount of time for the microvilli to pick it up. So who here is identifying as Pitta in any way, shape, or form, please just type me in the chat or raise your hand. That's right. I see my fellow Pittas. Beautiful. And again, Pitta as a function, it's that digestion, metabolism, taking information, turning it into knowledge and wisdom. And it's very beautiful dosha. I mean, they all are. Okay. So now we are to Kappa. What is the deal with Kappa dosha? So Kappa is earth and water, which is just more dense. So physically, Kappa is a bigger framed body. Here's the thing with Kappa. Like in the West, everybody, or the tendency is to want to be skinny and like, athletes are like slender with like these kind of Pitta type muscly bodies. But in Ayurveda, we know the truth, which is that Kappa people are the real athletes. And I'm talking about in a state of balance, right? Kappa people have more fuel, right? If we were comparing the doshas as candles, like Vata would be that little tea light, Pitta is like a medium votive, and like Kappa is like that 48-hour candle that just doesn't stop, right? You light it, and once you get it going, Kappa can just go. It's the Energizer Bunny. So Kappa dominant people will have that heavier build. They tend to be a little paler. And I don't just mean white. Again, you can apply this concept to any ethnicity. Like they'll be kind of like a opaqueness underneath. They're calm. Kappa people are natural nurturers. They'll have these big, beautiful eyes, and they're just able to take it as it comes. They'll just kind of sit there. They use less energy naturally. Like Kappa people will have less movements of the body. They'll be more still. Like Pitta will move their hands in this very kind of controlled fashion, this little box. Vata people like wave their hands all over, and they talk like this and like kick their feet. But Kappa people are still. They are, let's see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. They're really supported by regular exercise. And Kappa people tend to have like more sluggish digestion. And that's because there tends to be this kind of phlegmatic nature. Like mucus is a Kappa, right? This is a function of Kappa. Like if you get a lot of sinus stuff, that's Kappa. So to keep this dosha balanced, we're really looking at like, okay, what is the opposite of earth and water? Well, it's the fire and air, right? In general, Kappa people are excellent interfaces to the public. Like they are the ones that can just be kind no matter what. They just kind of naturally love everybody, right? They're just like cool with everybody. Now, out of balance Kappa is stubborn. Like you cannot move this person. You could, they're like, I am not going to do it. Whatever you try, it's useless. Forget it. Kappa, when Kappa says no, it's like, oh, it's like trying to move a freight train with, a bicycle. It's really difficult. And can be weight gain. Like if, when Kappa gets out of balance, that's excess body mass, right? This dosha type can do really, really well with skipping breakfast, right? So there's this kind of myth, I call it a myth in the West, that breakfast should be the biggest meal of the day. And Ayurveda doesn't agree with that. And we'll talk more about that, I think next week in the digestive health section, because what we're going to learn for all of the doshas is what is the digestive type and how can you adjust your food to match that, to bring optimum balance and energy, right? Because that's really the goal, right? That's why we're all here, to optimize our human experiences so that we can actually be happy. And the first step to that is having good health, right? Because if you feel crappy, what do you want to do? Nothing. You're like, ugh, do I have to? So this is what we're working on balancing. Okay. Are there any questions so far? That was just a lot of information, and I want to give a chance for anybody who's feeling unsure or uncertain. You can raise your hand. You can just come off mute. Anything? No?
There's a question in the chat room. How does the dosha body type aligns given the shift toward the obesity pandemic in our society?
Great. Yes. Thank you for that, Katrina. So how does the dosha body, well, this is a kappa type imbalance, right? So the thing that's happening is people are eating too much food. They're eating very low quality food, and they're sitting in their cars. Like, you know, I live in Austin, and I live close to a walkable area. Like, I'm willing to pay a very expensive price so that I don't have to be in my car all the time. But that's not an option for everybody, right? Like, some living in Kansas, like, oh my gosh, like, you can't get around Kansas City without a car. What are you going to do? You sit and take the bus and have your 2-mile trip take 3 hours? Like, no, you know, ain't nobody got time for that. So part of that kappa, right? When that's happening, it's a huge lifestyle problem. It's this lifestyle issue. And if you are that person who's struggling with kappa, the thing you get to do is exercise in the morning. Like, don't eat food in the morning and work your legs out. If you're struggling with weight gain, this is one of the biggest steps you can take, besides looking at the diet, which we'll go over next week. But lifestyle is so important, y'all. Like, the way that we have been, how can I say this? I really believe the transportation system contributes to so many problems, or lack thereof, in our culture. One, you know, you have to drive everywhere. 2, social isolation, right? Like, we are not interacting with people in the same way that we would. Like, if you go to a city like New York or anywhere that has a healthy subway system, like, you're getting to see people of all like economic backgrounds, all races, all genders, and everybody's kind of hanging out together. So you're getting exposed to different culture all the time, versus this very isolating car culture, you know, where you're just getting from your house to your car to the place and then back, and there's not a lot of exposure to other people, which I think creates a lot of cultural issues. But that's kind of a segue. So my opinion.
And I have another little question. Maybe you will address it. Oh, here it comes. But the suggestion about pungent and sour or whatever going with dosha, does it mean those are the foods you prefer, or you are the foods you are supposed to eat?
That you are supposed to eat. Great question. Yes. And this is something that we will again go over more in the digestive types masterclass, because that plus this knowledge is amazing. But really, so looking at these are the flavors of food that, and over here is a chart that shows you what balances and what increases. And I really want y'all to walk away with a very basic understanding. So if the arrow is going up, it's saying this is increasing this dosha. And if you like this, you're welcome to screenshot this. This is really useful. And if the arrow is pointing downward, it means it decreases the dosha. So when people get imbalances, like Vata imbalances, Pitta imbalances, Kappa imbalances, it is coming from 2 places, right? What are these 2 places? Does anybody know? Or these 2 areas of life? If you know, you can say, or you can type it in the chat. Let's see. Okay, thank you, Guna. Nothing? I'll give you a hint. What is this table all about? Food. Let's see, what did someone type? Food, yes, exactly. Food and something else, correct. It's food and lifestyle. Good job, Elle. Yeah, so it's what you eat, how you eat, and what you're doing every day, right? These are contributing to your imbalances. Plus, actually, I should say three things. Your environment. So much like we have doshas in our bodies, we can also understand the whole world through this lens. And I'm just going to jump back to that because I think this is really useful. Which dosha do you think is dominant right now? Looking at what they are made of, what do you think summer is? Is summer a Vata season, a Pitta season, or is summer a Kappa season?
Vata. I mean, Pitta, sorry, Pitta.
Yeah, yes. And why did you say Pitta?
Because it's hot. It's hot.
Mm-hmm. Correct. And if you live in a dry place, Vata is also going up. So what happens to people? What is the emotion associated with heat?
Maybe anger.
Anger, that's right. That's right. Pitta, anger. Exactly. Like people get hot-headed, right? Pitta is hot. In the summer, like, have you ever just gotten super agitated? Because it's like you're standing outside and you're like, oh my God, get out of my way. I just need to get in my cool car, or like whatever it is. And it's just like super annoying because you're like sweaty and you feel gross, right? And you start to get more impatient and you're inflamed. This is Pitta. Pitta is increased in the environment, which means it's increased in your body. So we have these factors to look at: diet, lifestyle, environment, right? And we can use this information to change our diet and lifestyle to become balancing to whatever's happening within us and the environment, right? So if it's Pitta season, we go to this little chart, we say, okay, I'm hot, I'm cranky, and you know, I'll get people like this. They come, they're like, man, I'm hot, I'm irritable, you know, I'm getting a rash outbreak on my skin. And then I start asking them, okay, well, I know it's summer. They might not have that connection yet. And then I ask them, what do you eat? And they're like, oh man, I love salsa. You know, like my mom really likes to eat these hot peppers. I used to watch her as a kid and be like, God, mom's eating jalapenos again. And she'd just say, I love them. But if you're having those and you already have these Pitta type symptoms, it's not a good thing, right? It's not supporting a balanced state. So if you have that acid reflux, if you're irritable, you know, if you're hot all the time, then what do you want to reduce based on this chart? And just type it in the chat. What are the 3 flavors that are bringing Pitta dosha down? And I'll wait till someone types it. Is everyone clear how this? Yep, perfect. Yep, great. Sweet, bitter, astringent. Sweet, bitter, astringent. Sour will actually increase Pitta. So it's sweet flavor and bitter flavor and astringent flavor. So that means in the summer, we avoid, especially like yogurt is a really heating food because it's a ferment. Cheeses are also a kind of fermented food. Kombucha is a fermented food. This is the time to take that stuff down. Citrus fruits like lemon is heating. So lemons, they're yellow. Doctrine of signature tells us that that's warming, versus limes, which are cooling. So you can have some lime. But you can just look at the color of food. Like if it's hot colored, don't eat it, you know? And when I say sweet flavor, I don't mean so much just sugar. They put that in here. I didn't make this chart. I just copied it. I would actually cross that out because refined sugar is heating. but like wheat, rice, fruit, natural carbohydrates and grains, and milk. This is sweet flavor, like not, you know, Twix or whatever kind of crap people eat. And I've been guilty of that. I mean, I grew up eating like, you know, my uncle would pay me to wash his car with Butterfingers. Man, that guy had a system figured out. And I thought I was like getting a really good deal. I'd spend like 4 hours out there and he gives me 3 candy bars. And I'm like, yes. He sure fooled me. So in that Pitta season, you're going to reduce those kinds of foods and you will increase, and you can still have some. Like the point is not to become like super anal and like, I can't have any Pitta foods. But it is to notice like, oh, maybe salsa, you know, and chili peppers, not so much right now, right? And increasing like dark leafy greens, salads are okay if you have the digestion for it. These raw fruits and veggies, things like that are very supportive for a Pitta environment. So is everyone starting to see the connection between the doshas and the season? Is that becoming clear? Yeah. Okay, I see some nods. I see some no movements. That's cool. Okay. All right. So let's see, what else do I have in here? This is going more into the flavors. So let's exit out of here and then I'll open up this ebook a little bit more because I really like it. And I was going to offer, if anybody would like to have this ebook that I created, just at the end, I'll have you type your email in the chat so that I can share it with you with your permission.
There is a question, if I can chime in. So somebody's asking if winter is Kappa.
Great question. Yes, it is. Winter is Kappa. Winter and like wet spring.
All right. I would like everybody to know I'm changing my answer. I think I am more Kappa than Pitta. So I got it wrong all these years.
It's, you know what, and that's okay. And you could be Kappa Pitta and still have a Vata type imbalance.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I have. Yeah.
So
I understand.
Right. So there are these layers, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because so imagine that you have, like, you are physically, you have a Kappa imbalance, but you could have mentally a Vata imbalance, right? You could be physically like gaining weight, struggling with that, and like you're having a hard time focusing. How do I balance that, right? How do you deal with that? From 2 different aspects. You would follow a Kappa balancing diet and a Vata and Kappa balancing lifestyle. What does that mean? What does that mean? How can you address so many doshas at once? Well, what that would mean is like Vata is increased by multitasking. Who here is guilty of multitasking? Let's just see some hands. Yeah. Yeah. Women especially, like you have kids, you have a job, you have a husband. I don't have kids or a husband, and I still multitask all the time. You know, this is one of those things, like the more you split your attention, you know, the more you're sitting here, you know, you're watching me and maybe you're on your phone also and then kind of doing something else, like you're really training your nervous system to not be present. So then you have to do these activities that balance the physical aspect. Like if there's excess Kappa, you must exercise in the morning, you must work your legs. Like leg health and Kappa are like this, right? So doing those squats, 100 squats every morning, and then to balance the ADHD kind of component, you got to put your phone down. You got to start just committing to focused activities where you decide for 1 hour, I'm not getting up, right? And I used to make myself do that because I tend towards this stuff too. I'd be like, but I want to do that. And then I would have this thought and I'm like, oh, I got to take care of that now. And then like, you're like, wait, but I didn't even, what did I even start working on? You know, this kind of tendency. So really noticing, is it hard for you to focus, and where can you drop things and to just be fully present, right? To just be fully present, because really the joy and juice of life are in the now, right? It's in being able to sit with someone and really enjoy what's here. Because so much of what you're stressed about or creating stress for yourself about is emotional fiction. And what I mean by that is that you're worrying about things that could happen, but that have not. Or you're focusing on things that have happened that you cannot control. So you're literally giving your precious attention, right? Because the most valuable thing you have is your time, and you just give it away. You just give it away to things that are not in front of you, right? So if we can learn how to come to that state of physical and mental balance that allows you to be powerfully present, right? I know I can say for myself that my favorite people to be around are the ones who are calm and totally connected with me. Like when I'm with them, they are there. I feel them. I feel seen. I feel appreciated, right? And other people want this from me, and you want this from other people. So what do you get to change in your life so that you can really become that beautiful expression of what it means to live in the now? Is that landing for everybody? Yeah. Okay. Why won't it let me go down? Is that it? Oh, okay. There should be a lot more to this. There it is. Okay, so reviewing doshas, again, we're just going to look a little bit more deeply into each of them, and then I'll leave about 10 minutes for questions at the end, because there tend to be a lot here. So Vata, this is all Vata, dry, right? If you have dry skin, it's because it's from a couple of things. It can be from having bad digestion that's blocking natural oil from reaching your body. So if you have, look at your tongue, and if you have a thick white coating, this can cause dry just as much as eating too much dry food. But we're looking at, okay, Vata is increased by too much dry food, packaged foods, like eating on the go, eating in your car, like this multitasking. I'm gonna call somebody while I'm driving somewhere, while I'm eating my food. Right? This is like a super Vata thing to do. Don't do that if you can avoid it, right? You're not connected to your food. Food is, oh my goddess, like all these things that we cry about wanting or not having. But if we have the gift of healthy, nourishing food, and we're not even present for that, like, oh my gosh, that's just rude, right? It's disrespectful to yourself. It's disrespectful to the resources of the earth. So be there, like, you know, sit with your food, love your body, love this temple, this gift from Creator, God, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, whatever name resonates with you, right? You know, try to be still. And over here, I've got these tips on how you balance it, right? Moisture, humidity, sweet flavor, licorice. I love licorice. It really calms down my cortisol levels. It's so good for my Vata, and it's good for Pitta as well. One thing at a time. Eating warm foods.
Sarah, there's a question. I think you are reading the screen we do not see.
Oh, you don't see it?
Nope. We are still on the sour sweet.
Okay, one sec. Let me see. Okay. Sorry thank you for stopping me. Everyone's like, what is she talking about? Okay, now can you see it? Okay, great. Thank you so much for interjecting. So again, this is the ebook that I'm super happy to share with all of you at the end. Just give me your email and I'll do that. But this is the qualities, the gunas of Vata over here, and then it tells you what causes it. So I want you to be able to use this at home for some self-study, because I could spend like a whole weekend teaching about this stuff. And then over here, it's how you balance. So it's all that stuff I was just saying. Yeah, let's see. Let's go next. Let me go next. Okay, are you still seeing my screen with the ebook? Well, I can't see anymore. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this is going down, like continuing to look at Vata and looking at the gunas here. I'm gonna teach y'all about self-care practices the very last class, I think. And I'll be teaching you about Abhyanga, the self-oil massage. This is like the #1 anti-aging tool. I promise you, it's what has made me look very fabulous at 40, and having attractive parents is helpful. Thank you, Mom. But this has been like eating enough oil and doing some intermittent fasting is so useful. So here, like, how can you embrace Vata in a healthy way? Well, the invitation to like really get into your Vata dosha and feel that expression is like, go put on like your hippie skirt and like go play in the field and feel the flowers, and just allow yourself to like be fully present to freedom and flow, right? Or journaling in the morning, right? Because if you're one of those people that's really rigid, or you're doing the same stuff all the time, your life is boring. Like boredom leads to depression, y'all. It's not that, life is bad. It's like most people who come to me as coaching clients or as Āyurveda clients, if they're depressed, they're bored, right? They're just kind of doing the same thing. And they're like, God, is this all there is? Well, no, there's more. So allowing yourself to try new things, like get out of the rut, drive home a different way, go around and come to your house from the other side, like this radical discontinuity, like to bring healthy Vata into your life, healthy change, healthy differences. And then Pitta, right? We went over this, the keywords being well-toned, staying fit, easily defined body, focused, driven, analytical. That was me. Like I was always excelling in school, and that was my superpower. Let's see. All right. Bye, Claire. See you soon. Yeah. So here we've just got some more of these, like, okay, if you're oily, how can I balance that? What are the herbs? If you're sharp, what foods support that? And there's that expression, being sharp-tongued, right? That comes from Pitta. Like that's an actual thing that comes from a state of emotional and physical balance. So what do we need to do to work on that? Lightness, if you get dizzy, or you're feeling like, if you have really strong body odor, this is a sign that you have an imbalance, right? You're not supposed to stink. And all these products marketed to us in the West are just covering up symptoms, right? It's really crazy to me. Like, you should not have period cramps. That's an imbalance. You should not be stinky. You should be able to sleep. You should be living in community, all these things. So just notice that. And so at the end here, again, reviewing Kappa. And all of this is here so that you can read through it. This is a really, really easy to understand how you balance it, lifestyle, change it up, cooked food, moving the legs, getting that exercise in the morning, And this chart will tell you exactly like, oh, if you're oily, you need drier foods. If you're cold, because Kappa can be like overweight and cold, right? What do you need to do? You need warming foods. You need spices like ginger and black pepper. You need to sweat. You need to work out. You need to get the body moving. So everything is here. Look at these beautiful people. Mom, do you like those pictures? Yeah. These are my sisters, Kali and Katya, and this is my cousin Birgit and Andy, and yeah. So I wanted to leave some space at the end for again more questions, because I just gave y'all a lot of information, and I want you to have some time to actually get to talk to me. So I'm going to stop the share for right now and kind of open the floor and see, like, what would you like to know more of? What are you still feeling like unclear on? Whatever you want, I'm here.
A little off the topic. I just wanted to ask if somebody needs wellness credit and you haven't put down your email address, please do so now so I can copy it. And then there was a question about if you have a reputable place to find a dosha type test.
Yeah. Let me just look real quick. I don't love the online ones. I think I've tried some, but they all just end up leading to some kind of mistakes. Let me see if Banyan has one. Banyan Botanicals. I think you can try. I'm just looking. Yeah. So I haven't done theirs in a while, but a company that I work with a lot is Banyan Botanicals. Dosha quiz. I'll put that to everyone. So you should be able to Google this. Oh, not dosa, it should be dosha. And they have a pretty good one as far as I can tell. And so I won't actually give the slides out, but I'll give the ebook. Yeah, totally. Elena, you got it. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Anything else? No questions. Does everybody have an idea of what dosha they are? Maybe people do that. So Magda, you said you're identifying as.
Well, I think, I don't know, sorry to talk about me, but since nobody's asking questions.
Hey, go for it.
So I'm still multitasking and copying the email addresses. But I thought maybe because, everybody wants to be smart and intelligent and intellectual. I think that's why I wanted to be Pitta. And who wants to be overweight, So I was always convincing myself I am Pitta.
I think every day I would be something different.
Yeah.
So Magda, what are you thinking then in that case?
Well, I agree with Laura, and I am, because we live in this technology and multitasking and worries, I think mentally my Vata is totally out of whack. And Laura would agree with that. But then, I think I am like Pitta Kappa.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So question, is that your office like background behind you?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is my office.
Okay. Yep. That just it tells you.
Could you please tell I need a new office? Like this is a good place to address. No, it's actually my other side of my office is really nice. I have like a forest wallpaper, but that's just kind of busy. Yeah.
No, I was just curious. So I think I would agree. And let me just say something about the intelligence. Pitta is a certain kind of intelligence that's highly valued, but we need them all, right? Like we absolutely, how horrible would the world be without artists, without writers, right? Without people doing things to make the world a more beautiful place, or poetry like Rumi and Hafiz, like what was the impact on society. And in some ways, I think is far greater than this analysis, right? Because I can tell you, like, I've always excelled in school, but did that make me happy? No, I just wanted love and acceptance. And so that was like a thing that I did. Well, I'll achieve because then it makes me important. I don't know if that is actually the way. And I just wanted to bring that in because I don't think you're alone in that conditioning, right? And then, you know, Kappa has this beautiful, like they all have that intelligence and capacity. Not Pitta isn't more intelligent than the others. It's just a different kind of analyzing the world, right?
And there's a question which it's kind of, I have the same question. Is it pronounced Kappa or Kappa?
How you're going to hear it, the correct pronunciation per Sanskrit is Kappa. I will say it that way because that's my Pitta Virgo mind. Like I like it to be correct. That's me. That's the Sanskrit. And in the West, you're going to hear Kappa. That's what people are going to say. So I say Kappa, I read Sanskrit, but either way, you'll be understood. Martha, did you have a question? It looks like you're unmuted.
So I think my takeaway today would be understanding what my dosha is, but also understanding that for the seasons, you can have a different, you can be in a different area of your dosha, correct? Like for summer, you want to kind of eat for that time, but also understanding what your dosha is.
Yes, exactly. So it's a balance. It's a balancing act. And the way to really tell is like by tuning into how you're feeling, right? So if you are getting overheated in the summer, you follow more of that Pitta balancing diet. If you are in the winter, like you're feeling cold and sluggish and slimy and heavy, then you would actually increase the Pitta in your diet. That's the time to have the spicier foods, to have the ginger and the soup and the salsa and the stuff. Yeah.
So I think that's cool to one, understand what your dosha is, and two, understand the seasons of how it follows.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for asking, because here's the truth. We live in we've been conditioned in this kind of way that, I don't know, Western culture is structured in this very, this is how it is, like without taking flux into account. It's like look at all these women. We embody flux, the lunar menstrual cycle, right? Your moon cycle. We are made for change, and there are ebbs and flows. And like to think that we should have the same diet, the same lifestyle, no matter the season, is not honoring our own seasons in the body, right? There's seasons of life, there's seasons of hormones, and we adjust for that. So getting out of this kind of patriarchal paradigm of we are the same all the time, robot, because we're not, we're different. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sharon, did you have a question?
I do. Yes. So I was just curious with doshas, how you were talking about conditioning and things like that. Can your dosha shift based on, I've been doing a lot of deep personal work, and you're trying to peel back all the layers to what your original state is, or whatever you want to say, your original being. And so it's interesting. Do you find that your doshas shift, and you can see what's kind of been imposed upon you and how you've had to respond to life? Or does your dosha really stay true to who you are? You're saying like when we're born with kind of like our dosha imprint or whatever. But then as we grow and as life shifts, I can see how so I kind of feel like as I identify, as like, oh, that used to be me, but I'm choosing to do life differently, and which feels more authentic. So it feels like things are sifting out. So how much are our doshas impacted by those situations?
Yeah, great question. It's very much impacted, right? And you can think about, okay, say you're traumatized, shock, right? Something happens, and trauma means too much, too soon, too fast. It doesn't have to mean like that some massively catastrophic event happened to you. It can just mean like your nervous system could not handle. Vata increases. Okay, this happens. Vata always increases in this kind of situation. Okay, say just on, you grow up in a family where anger is then taught. So then you learn to be angry, to protect yourself. Shock happens, anger comes, or this is the acceptable emotion that you're allowed to express, right? So you feel safe there. So then you're angry. It's like, Mama, this is the way you protect yourself. Or for some people, this increase in this shock trauma will happen. Kappa, they start to eat more. Like there's this like feeling of unsettledness, ungroundedness. And so Kappa comes in to protect, right? Like, or you'll just want to do heavy things because you don't want to feel that in your body. Yeah. So
what's the best way to navigate back to your most natural state?
That's a person to person kind of question.
Okay.
And that's a big question, right? And I think number one, making sure you have that foundation of health and wellness. And number two, working with someone like who understands how to navigate that space, because there is no one formula for all people.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But really put yourself with people like, getting a coach, surrounding yourself with people who are embodying what you want to embody is always a great start.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And there is an important question.
Okay.
So I am Asian. My mother told me not to drink cold water to avoid menstrual cramps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is exactly the question? That's a statement.
It's a statement, but I think you would be eager to address drinking cold water in the United States, ice water.
Yeah. In general, we don't recommend so much drinking cold water because it dilutes your digestion, right? Like, question, when you cook food, what do you do to the pan? Somebody answer.
Oil it.
And you do what to the
Warm
stove?
Warm it up.
You warm it up. Who here has ever started cooking a meal by throwing ice cubes or cold water into a pan? No, right? Nobody has. I'm glad to see that. I'd be concerned. So, but this is what people are doing to their digestion. Like, you want your body to do a good job of cooking your food, but you throw ice cubes and cold stuff in there. Like, every once in a while, sure, like have cold water. I get it, can feel very refreshing. I haven't heard that so much for menstrual cramps about drinking the cold water, but having cold feet for sure. So like if you're prone to that, keeping your feet warm, especially mid-cycle and onward, is really supportive from the Ayurvedic perspective. Yeah. So I have time for just one or two more questions. I know we're just a few minutes over and I want to respect everyone's time. So any last question or curiosity, concern? Oh, let me see what's in the chat. Warm it up. Yeah. Yeah. Did everyone get some good information today? I hope so.
Yes, I want to thank you so much. You are very educated and very informative, totally mind-opening and eye-opening for many of us. And we are looking forward to seeing you next time.
Yay. Yes. Thank you so much. And if you didn't already and you want this ebook, please remember to put your email in here. Did everyone who wants it drop their email in the chat? Great. And then Magda, I believe you got that.
I did. I have been copying it. Yep. I have been
Great.
copying it.
And two more just came in.
Yes, I see it.
Yeah, last minute. Perfect. Yeah, I'm super excited to share because really, this is my joy, and you are all, of course, welcome to reach out to me personally if you want deeper support, if you want one-on-one guidance. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner and life coach, and this is my absolute joy and honor is to guide beautiful souls such as yourself. So if you're interested, or anyone you know, don't hesitate to send them my way. And
also, I also included my email address in case I missed you or you don't get it within the next couple of days, or you have any other questions and you want to me to connect you with Maya, please feel free to email me as well.
Yeah. And you are all also welcome. I'll put my Instagram handle. If you use that, it's at, oh wait, where'd it go? Why is it not doing it? Am I in the wrong box? Oh, I'm hitting the wrong, now it's not letting me type. Yes, there we go. At Amaya Shiva, and you're welcome to DM me there, ask me anything. I check it pretty frequently. It's my job to serve. It's my honor to teach and be of service to all of you. So thank you so much for showing up and letting me do my divine work in the world with your loving, kind attention. I appreciate you.